Dear all, good morning from BRAC, Bangladesh, and good afternoon, good evening for other countries. Hmm. So now we will start our session, and the session title is Locally Led Adaptation for Climate Resilient Solutions. And this theme of this session is locally led adaptation. Here we will share the experience from the projects and learnings of BRAC. BRAC is the world's largest organization, and two of our project intervention, which is being implemented in the coast. One is in the coastal vulnerable district, Bagirhat's sub-district Mongla, where we are working for water security. And the urban development program is also working for the Mongla cities to make it climate migrant friendly. Today we have our chair for this session, Dr. Mohammed Liaquat, Director, Climate Change Program, Urban Development Program, and Disaster Risk Management Program of BRAC. And the session, there are two presentations, one from Mohammed Imamul Azam Shahib, Program Head Urban Development Program, and Program Head Climate Change Program, Abu Sadat Mohammed Noor Jaman Khan. With those presentations, we will have Mohammed Jiaul Haq, Director, Department of Environment, People's Republic of Bangladesh. He is our designated discussant. Now I am requesting Dr. Mohammed Liaquat Ali, Director, Climate Change Program, Urban Development Program, and Disaster Management Program, BRAC, to chair this session. Dear Liaquat.
Good morning, everybody. And at the same time, welcoming everyone to join this. As you have already heard, BRAC is an NGO which is actually the largest NGO in the world for the last consecutive 5 years. And BRAC has expanded its activities in the international arena. BRAC has international NGO working in 9 countries, 6 in Africa, 3 in Asia. This year, we are celebrating our 50 years because we started our journey in 1972 through Response. As you know, BRAC is present all over Bangladesh, and our founder always says, small is beautiful, but large is essential. And BRAC is very good at piloting, testing, changing, and then go for a scale. As you know, those who are actually working in the field of climate change, the impact of climate change is Bangladesh is known to everybody. And these impacts happen through erratic rainfall, sea level rise, salinity intrusion, a heat wave, riverbank erosion, drought, floods, etc., etc. If you know, the impact of climate change will affect almost every sectors in Bangladesh. And geographically, it will cover every country, because earlier cyclone, flood, these are common phenomena we are used to know. But nowadays, heat wave and cold wave is also a concern for us, because the first and foremost sector will be the agriculture and food security, which is going to be affected most. Then it will be water security, I mean the drinking water as well as water for life. And also human health and livelihood will be disrupted. All we know, those who are working in the climate change, adaptation and mitigation. I'm not going to discuss what are the elements of adaptation or mitigation. So as a civil society organization, from the very beginning, we are focusing mainly on adaptation, because as an NGO, BRAC have the ability or work in the marginalized community and people who actually are in need. So the work we have done in the name of adaptation, recently the terminology, the locally led adaptation has emerged. Because when there is a commissioner, BRAC executive director, former executive director, Dr. Musa was one of the commissioner. So during that time, it was recognized and identified in Bangladesh, BRAC will be the agency responsible for locally led adaptation in Bangladesh. And very recently, the Global Center on Adaptation has established, and it has his office in Netherlands, also in different continents. And very recently within Bangladesh, they have started its journey. And today there will be a big event is happening now. And, BRAC is one of the major partner of GCA because it has 8 principles. I'm not going to elaborate details. You can heard Mr. Imam Azam Shahi, he's going to describe what we are doing in the field. The solution must come from the problematic area or addressing the local community, because they are at the forefront and they are facing the impact of climate change. And their voice has to be heard in the decision making. And the BRAC Climate Change and Urban Development Program very much adopted the principles of local-led adaptation. You have opportunity to see today. As I said, we have a fantastic locally led approach in our water security project, because very recently we are implementing a water security project in Mongla. It's a Upajala blanket coverage project through rainwater harvesting. So you can show a presentation on that. And in Bangladesh, normally people don't like to change his location. They try to remain there as much as possible, but sometimes it is very difficult for them to live there because of negative impact as well as conditions and livelihood. It prevails or it affects them so badly, they have to migrate. One statistics we know, every day, 2,000 people migrate from all over Bangladesh to Dhaka city. 85% of them are climate migrant. And to address that with the funding from or with the support from GCA, we have a partnership with BRAC as well as ICAD and Spark. Jointly, we are implementing a project in Mongla to develop a climate migrant friendly city, going to be piloted again in 3 more cities. So that is in short what we are doing at this moment. So you can see and we can show our presentation, and after that we can have a discussion from the panel as well as from the participants here today. So I will stop here and over to Taposhda. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ligam Bhai. Now I'm requesting Imamul Shahi, Head Urban Development Program BRAC, for his presentation. And after Shahi Bhai's presentation, we will have a presentation from Abu Shadat Mohammad Munir Jamal Khan. Shahi Bhai.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Taposhda, for giving me this opportunity. I'm feeling really honored to be here today, especially in the 3rd Gobeshona conference in a parallel session, which is talking about like locally led adaptation for climate resilience solutions. So as Dr. Liekodali already mentioned how BRAC is moving forward on it. So we at this moment, especially in this session, we'll talk about like 2 aspects. One is like water security. Another one is how the locally led adaptation is basically embedding in migrant-friendly city initiatives of a BRAC project. So we can in a very brief way, we before going through the project, we can talk about like what are the global Bangladesh and Bangla perspective, especially on the urbanization. We can talk something about the facts and figures. We all may know that the global city population basically share doubled from 25% to 50%. So if you talk about 1950 and 1922, the city population is almost double. And the researchers and different organizations is expecting or projected in a way that this will slowly increase up to 58% next 50 years. That means in 2070, we'll see the 58% of global population in the urbans. So now we can see like how urban is going. If urban is going like this way, most of the small cities and the secondary cities, what we are observing, the people are coming to the cities, they are basically grabbing the land of open spaces, and they're living there in a very informal settlements, and that is basically creating a pressure for their livelihood, health, and other aspects. And if you look at the Bangladesh, especially in 2029, we observed that 4.1 million people, they have displaced or migrated to city areas. It is due to climate change. And expecting, or there is a prediction that by 2050, another 13.3 million people will be displaced due to climate change. So now we are observing like what is the situation in Bangladesh, and especially for Mongla, is now a fast growing economic port city, which is basically accommodating the migrated people in that small cities, because earlier we have observed that the people are only migrating from the mega cities, but now it is shifting. The migrated people are even migrated to the smaller secondary cities where there is many issues, especially the economy is there, income generating activities are there, and they're not thinking about their living conditions. So exclusively Bangla, if you talk about like climate change impacts and vulnerabilities, then you can see many impacts. Many vulnerabilities are there. Water crisis is there. People are continuously struggling with groundwater as well as surface water. It is due to the salinity. And not only the water crisis, people are also struggling with agriculture. It is also due to increased salinity in the cultivable land, and people are not concentrating on their basically the agricultural activities. And also due to the different type of climate disasters associated with climate change, we are observing waterlogging. We are observing it is due to high tide, tidal surge, flooding, and also some extent like broken up the embankments. And health risks are increasing day by day in Mongla. It is due to extreme heat and also the saline water. And due to the saline water, there are many chronic diseases that there. Food insecurities are increasing there as agricultural lands are shrinking due to the salinity. And infrastructure damage is also another issues, as people are continuously facing with different type of disasters associated with climate change. So it is impacting on their shelters. It is impacting on their livelihoods, and also impacting on health, increasing the health hazards day by day. And if you look at the infrastructure, due to the salinity, most of the infrastructure are going to damage. So usually any kind of infrastructure, we are considering that it will continue at least 60 to 70 years or sometimes 100 years. But in Mongla, this is basically something different, that the buildings are going to destroy within a very short period of time. It is due to high salinity. And Okay, considering this situation, in Mongla, BRAC has started, like, which has been mentioned in the just building a migrant-friendly cities using the locally led adaptation. So, locally led adaptation process started with some time of activities. So at the beginning, we have started with conducting a household census. Basically, the household census is talking about like what are the brief scenario of Mongla Port municipality on different parameters. So if you look at like climate migrant hotspots. So Mongla Port municipalities consist of, you know, that 9 wards. We have identified 56 communities. So out of 56 communities, we had a household census and also the community consultation. So based on household census and community consultation, so we came up with 20 climate migrants hotspots, which are very much vulnerable due to climate change. So the project is mostly focusing on that 20 climate migrant hotspots with our interventions. Especially, we are working closely with the communities, working with the municipalities, also working with the different stakeholders. So through this census, we have identified the key occupation of Mongla. So our census is talking about like key occupation of Mongla is day labor, small business, garments worker, rickshaw, van puller, and the boatman. You can also see the comparison between male and female about the occupation in Mongla. And also, if we look at the migration trend and source of migration, then we have observed through our census that mostly almost 55% households in Mongla, especially in the climate hotspots, they are migrated from different districts of Bangladesh. So among them, basically, if you look at the chart, like if you look at the trend, so you can see the how it is ups and down, the migration to Mongla. And one surprising issue is like last 5 years, starting from 2017 to 2021, we have observed that the migration trend is higher than the before. So there are some reasons why there is a migration is occurring, because Mongla, you know, as I mentioned before, that it's a growing economic zone. It's a port city. There are so many infrastructures already constructed, and coal power plant already established there, and also the economic zones, and due to the Padma Bridge, so communication, very quick communication established, so that we have observed that nowadays migrants are moving to the Mongla for their life and livelihoods. So that last 5 years, you can see that the trend is very high. And also, if you look at the source, so from where people are coming to Mongla, it's also identified in our census. So the map is talking about like different districts. And especially we have identified the most of the people coming to Mongla is from Bagerhat, which is 64%. And then Pirojpur 8%, Borishal 7%, Purna 6%, Noakhali, and also some people are coming from Satkhira. Beside that, more people are coming from other districts, which is percentage is very less, not mentioned here. Okay, why people are coming to Mongla? So this is one of the issue. Like people are coming to Mongla because due to the economic reasons, due to the port, due to the due to the livelihoods. So people are coming to Mongla, and those people are coming to Mongla. Why they are coming to Mongla? Because they are struggling with poverty. 43% people talked about like due to poverty they came to the Mongla, and they came to the Mongla for their jobs. For their some people are came basically marital reasons, and some people are there for their insecurity in the sources, and natural disasters also an issue. So if you focus on like 2 areas, like why they are coming, we have identified that the people, most of the people, they lost their livelihood in the source due to different type of climatic disasters or any other issues. They lost their livelihood and they came to the Mangla. And also they thought that if they come to the Mangla, they will have their better wages and work for their life. Living condition. This is one of the areas like we have identified. So the people are coming to Bangla, living in informal settlements, especially poor settlements. Their living conditions is like we have identified like 42% households living in the rented houses, and they are using the rented house on an average monthly. They are paying for that 1,700 taka. And we have identified that 11% households conditions are very poor and are also hazardous, because the way they're living in that houses, they're living there without any basic services. If you look at what are the situation in that particular area, basically water, sanitation, and hygiene. So 5 to 6 months on an average, like most of the families facing water scarcity. Also, 32% household, they're using their shared toilets, and 78% households facing waterlogging problems like 2-3 times in a year, and 85% households, they just use wood as their source of cooking fuel. And if you talk about access to services, so most of the cases we have observed in that particular area, as the area is, water is totally contaminated by saline. So they're always trying to just meet their demands on water, basically in accessing the rainwater harvesting. We have observed that 35% household, they have having their rainwater, treated rainwater as their primary sources of drinking water. And if you talk about piped water, we observed that only 15% household, they have connected with the municipal pipe water facilities into in the informal settlements. And waste management is 600 household can properly dispose household waste in community bins. And sanitation facilities is very bad. We have observed only 7% households, they're using the unhealthy toilets, like it's hanging connected to the drains that way. And if you talk about access to financial inclusion, only 30% households having mobile financial service account. Okay, these are the issues we have identified from the census. But based on this scenario, so now I like to just focus on like what BRAC is doing. So considering this situation, our project activities is basically focusing on mostly building climate resilient migrant friendly towns, as the session is today like locally led adaptation. So using the locally led adaptation approach, so we are focusing on building climate resilient migrant friendly town. So there are 4 specific activities under this project we are trying to do. So one of our activities is, through this project, we like to pilot a process to develop a locally led town climate adaptation plan in Mongla. So our target is engaging all concerned, including municipalities, different service departments of government, community. So ensuring everyone's participation, we like to come up with a town climate adaptation plan for Mongla. So we also like to establish a local adaptation center. That adaptation center will be leading by the mayor of Mongla municipality. So key responsibility would be the local adaptation center is to implement town climate adaptation plan, and also to come up with town climate adaptation plan, we need some capacity building activities for all concerned, especially the communities, municipality, and concerned stakeholders who are engaging with us. So we are also providing capacity building support so that we can have a effective planning and implementation of town climate adaptation plan. And another one activities is what we are doing in Mongla. So scaling up that town climate adaptation plan and local basically adaptation center for climate resilient migrant friendly towns across the Bangladesh. So in this regard, our vision or our goal is to piloting this model in Mongla. We are thinking like this will be tested in another 3 cities and then scaled up to 26 cities. Followed by especially what we are learning from the Bangla. Based on our learning, we'll come up with the objective. We'll redesign our activities and processes. And for this scaling up, we'll go for exploring the funding, available funding. It may be from the local, it may be from the national, maybe from the international arena. Okay. So as Dr. Liaquat Ali mentioned that we are following the 8 principles of locally led adaptation. So these 8 principles we are trying to maintain in our activities in Mongla. So we are developing the decision making capacities at the lowest level, especially in the communities. So we are closely working with them, providing our capacity building support and facilitating their knowledge, skills, and competencies so that they can identify their issues, they can analyze those, and they can come up with their own plan for their particular community. So that principles we are following, and we are going through basically robust understanding of climate risk and uncertainty, because as we are talking about like climate resilient migrant friendly cities, this is not only the issues, but it is issues like we can have some sorts of understanding and some sorts of thinking about like how climate is changing and how that issues is basically embedding or incorporating in the town level adaptation plan. So yeah, the 8 principles is all about is here. Some of the principles may not be applicable in local context of Mongla, but we are trying to follow all or each of the active principles just mentioned in the locally led adaptation. And like how things are moving in Mongla, especially what type of what models or strategies we are following for making the Mongla city climate resilience or migrant friendly. So as I mentioned, like there will be a town climate adaptation plan. Town climate adaptation, it has 3 components. So before coming up with the town component adaptation plan, we are starting at the community level. So at the community level, there will be a local adaptation plan. So in each 20 climate migrant hotspot, there will be a local climate adaptation plan. And once the local climate adaptation plan is developed, then we'll go to the ward level, because municipalities consist of 9 wards. So based on local adaptation plan, there will be a ward level climate adaptation plan developed, and based on what local and ward level climate adaptation plan, we'll come up with a town level climate adaptation plan for the municipality. So that plan is not only considered the local plan and ward level plan, there should have some sorts of scientific analysis also will be embedded in the town climate adaptation plan. So in this process, we are engaging community, we are engaging local government institutes, especially the municipality under the leadership of mayor. We are engaging researchers for scientific data and analysis, and also we are engaging other stakeholders, government departments, different type of NGOs, those who have presence in that particular area, for their sharing of experience in different sectors. So once the town climate adaptation plan, as I mentioned, like this will be basically implemented through local adaptation center. So this is a platform, like using this platform, basically the development process of town adaptation plan, as well as implementation, as well as taking some sorts of technical insights, inputs. Member of local adaptation center, basically they are continuously or closely working with mayor, closely working with project team of BRAC. And through this consultation process, the planning is evolving and will go for implementation. So as I mentioned, the TCAP and local adaptation center is leading by mayor. And we have also developed a local advisory committee. So the responsibility of local advisory committee is to provide continuous insights, advice to the mayor, and through this advice, basically mayor is guide to local town development climate action plan, as well as local adaptation center. And in BRAC, we have a steering committee. So the steering committee consists of experts in these particular areas. Especially at this moment, we have 5 members in the steering committee. So Sheila Patel is there, Dr. Salimul Haq is there from ICAT, and Sheila Patel from SPARC. From BRAC, Dr. Liaquat Ali is participating in, and also from GCA, Mehdi Hassan, country manager Bangladesh, he is also joining in the steering committee. So key role of steering committee is to observe how TCAP is evolving and how local adaptation center is working, just observing these issues, and also provide technical knowledge and skills if required in this development process. They are providing. They are in a regular frequency. They are sitting for a meeting and then discussing, and then coming up some sorts of basically recommendation if needed for the TCAP and local adaptation center. And then the steering committee is supported by 2 strategic partners. One is ICAT. ICAT is basically supporting us in knowledge management, especially the capture the best practices through learning and research, and also they are contributing to develop the knowledge products and also capturing the evidences from the field, and that will be used for the advocacy at the local level, international level, and along with BRAC. And SPARC is joining with us. You may know that SPARC, they have their huge expertise and experiences on community mobilization. They are working globally. They have very good models. Okay. And we are basically using their community mobilization expertise in this project. And the central government also associated with this project, because what we are doing in the Mongla, and that will be continuously sharing with the national government, especially the ministries, for policy influence. So if you talk about the key achievement till to date with this project, so local community already, and municipality and other stakeholders, sensitization, mobilization, every processes we have completed. We already identified the 20 most vulnerable hotspots that has been identified through vulnerability and risk assessment and household census. And then we have already formed the local adaptation centers. So also local advisory committee formed. And we also trained the community, and community came up with their local basically level climate adaptation plan. All the 20 communities local climate adaptation plan already prepared. So this is our achievement. Next step is like we'll facilitate to develop the world level climate adaptation plan, and then consist of local ward level adaptation plan, we will go for the town level adaptation plan, engaging all the stakeholders. Also, on top of that, scientific data analysis will be there in town level adaptation plan. We are assuming that end of April, our town level adaptation plan will be ready for implementation. So this is brief. So thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Shaibai, for your nice presentation and concluding with this achievement. Now I'm requesting Abu Shadat Mohammad Munirjaman Khan, Program Head Climate Change Program, to share his presentation. And after those two presentations, Mohammad Jiaul Haq, Director, Department of Environment, is kind enough to talk as the designated discussant.
Uh, can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to share our experience and journey, especially on water security issue. Thank you, Shahi Bhai, for explain all the LLA principle and how that our climate migrant friendly city projects works and using all the principles. At the same time, the framework. Similar kind of approach we are also implying for this our this water security project at Mongola. Just for information that the urban development program, they are working in the Purushabha, the urban segment, and the climate change program basically working in the rural area, like all 6 approval from the NGO Bureau, and from that day we started our journey. But in Mongola, we started this water security project in 2009. I am going to give you the idea that what that water security means and how we are achieving some of our objective, and how this LLA principle inbuilt in our activity process. And this project is highly participated by the local community from every segment, especially the community people, the local leaders, and the government institutions. All government that institution, they are part of this project, and our team, they are working with the different stakeholder regularly. Like we all know that what is going on, especially in our coastal belt, that water security and food security is a big issue into our mind, or the security issue is a long problem. But after cyclone Cedar and Ayla, it changes a lot. And growing water insecurity and intrusion of salt water, it's a common phenomenon. And we know that we have evidence also that sea level is rising. And especially in Mongola, that 60% of the people, they do not have safe drinking water access. I think the data is more than that, but according to the government source, we found 60% population do not have access of safe drinking water. And Mongola, it's the people in Mongola and the whole ecosystem suffered by the cyclone, storm surge, and salinity. It's a common climate events they have been facing. And during dry season, that women and girls, they have to go to like 3 to 4 kilometers for collecting water. I've been visiting Mongola in 2013. During that time, they have to go to like 8 to 10 kilometers far to collect pond water. And the scenario little bit changes, but we will show you the maps, what is going on. And daily intake of salt water, we know that 60 grams per day in many communities where WHO recommendation is less than that. Yes, if you see the map and the blue dots, they do not have any freshwater sources or access to get a safe water. So it's distributed all over Mongla Upazila in 6 unions. Their monthly income range between 5,000 to 1,000 taka. Basically household income. And what we did in 2021, we did census for all 6 unions, and we have the all data. And from that data source, we have seen that average distance, that water source distance is 0.5 to 2 kilometers. 2 kilometers is nowadays it's too far to collect drinking water, because this is their most that workable time they have to spend to collect their water. But at the same time, women and children, their responsibility most of the time to collect this water. But in the case of Mongla, you see many that member of the family, they're collecting water because they have to go too far to collect drinking water. These figures also give you an idea that the union-wise, which union people in which union they have to go too far from their home to collect water. Like some of the unions is really terrible, but at the same time, the other union also, like, problem is everywhere to access to safe drinking water. As I mentioned, what BRAC is doing in 6 unions of Mongla, and all these unions are extremely climate vulnerable with increased water salinity due to sea level rise. And also that we have data that every year the salinity is increasing, particularly the Mongla. But at the same time, probably many people, when they heard about Mongla, they thought that Mongla is a rich Purushabha, they have all the facilities, but in realistically, no, they are really vulnerable, and many services basically not access into that particular locality. The BRAC, what is BRAC is doing? I think basically we are doing a rainwater harvesting system, but the most beautiful thing is we are using a filter system. We know that rainwater harvesting system, especially it's many more than 100 years of practice. But what we are doing, we are adding some new knowledge which changes the whole system, and which is the filtration system. If you go to Mongla, if you visited our rainwater harvesting system, we are not the people to give you what is the benefit. The people who are using this system, they will tell you the real story. This is another system that many people are poor. If you see the rooftop, probably you see that the golpata leaves they are using in roof. But we know if we collect this water it will contamine by bacteria and many organic materials changes the water quality. We develop this model. Probably our session chair, he is the person who this idea came from his mind, and we are a team to implement in the ground. So it's a teamwork. But if you go and see this technology, it's a very simple. Any women member of the family can use this technology and collect rainwater harvesting system and keep these the materials in their at their home. So this is a very effective model, especially in Mongla, and any other organization can replicate this kind of model. Other part of the Bangladesh, most welcome. This is that we are implementing that water security option in Mongla, especially in the community system. Here in the right side, probably you see the 4 tanks. Here one tank is using as a water bank, and here is 8 tanks. There are also 2 tanks used as a water bank. Water bank concept we introduced in our water security project. It means if any season that the local community do not get facing any uncertain situation, like it takes too much to wait for rain, then this water will give support to that community. We have the data that how this water can use for how many days. We have at the local people, local climate action group. Through this climate action group, we are disseminating water safety related protocol to every household so that people can get aware where they can get the best water and drinkable water, safe water, and what is their responsibility to maintain their system. And this picture shows you that management committee and that how this system can sustain a long term. We always try to get information from the ground to hear their voice, what they are expect. BRAC, it's a long time, probably you know, that we always depend on local voice. In particular, this project, we are also listening from the ground and try to implement their voice through our action. This is also that the community, as the community identify their climate vulnerability, and also they're focusing that how to make a plan to ensure safe water. So that currently that 891 that the under the climate action group where women members are working. This from that women members, we also selected some members who work as a mission, so that after this project they can basically we try to develop a new job for them, so that these women group members can support, can fix all of their problems. And if they need any filter, if they need any kind of information, probably they will get from those members. At the same time, BRAC always there. After this project, if they want from any support, any kind of knowledge support, any kind of technical support, our BRAC, that probably you know that we have a system development program. So the other program can also help them if they want any support. yes, we are also working with the young that female and boys, and basically we know that they're the future of this country. So if they carry this knowledge, so that it will be helping in the future, so that they can work as a change agent for that particular time. So we always invited this young group into our meeting, into our activities, and initially we started our journey with them. Still they are with us, and this is some of the achievement that our annual target and total project achieved. And as I mentioned, that we have a very good climate action group. They are very working in the ground, as well as that we are providing all the intervention through our selected participants. And thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot, Munibhai, for presenting this climate change program. So now, Mohammad Ziaul Haq, Director, the Department of Environment, will talk as the designated discussant. And I know that Munibhai is busy with another event, and Dr. Mohammad Liaquat Ali, Liaquat Bhai is kind enough to answer for this climate change and urban issues. So Munibhai, if you need to leave from this session now, you can even more. And requesting Jiawei now to speak as the designated discussant. Thanks a lot to Shaibhai and Munibhai. Jiawei, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Tapas Chakraborty, and thank you, BRAC, UNDP, and other partner organization for organizing and sharing these very interesting findings. I would say the case studies, very good and very interesting case studies that we have learned from the presentation. And thank you, Liaquat Bhai, for your initiative on the part of BRAC UDP. And at the outset, I also like to convey my sincere thanks to Imamul Safi and Mr. Manoj Jaman for their very useful presentation. And we have learned a lot. And in fact, in the presentation, we came to know that around 4.1 million population have been displaced in 2019 in Bangladesh due to climate change induced disaster and impacts. And the BRAC has had a long experience in dealing with these issues at local level, at the grassroots level. So, and I understand that they have engaged with their knowledge and expertise in this particular area in terms of building a climate resilient, migrant friendly towns through locally led adaptation in Mongla city. And we understand that this has been our experience over the last many years. The displaced population tend to migrate to Dhaka or the big cities. But the point is that we try to convince them that if there are suitable and appropriate enabling situation is prevailing, then they can migrate to the adjacent cities like Mongla. And the BRAC has very rightfully identified the climate change impacts, vulnerabilities, causes of migration, types of natural disasters they have been facing by the local community, and other related issues, specific reasons for migration. So they try to bring out the relevant information, why the migration is happening and how the push factor and pull factor is actually there is functioning. As we know that when we talk about the migration, there are specific push factors through which migration happens, and there are pull factors which we have to enhance the pull factors for retaining the migrated people but displaced people in a specific locality. So in the study, in their information, particularly in their household survey and census. The BRAC has sincerely tried to capture all information in a coherent and synergistic fashion. But one point I would like to mention here, that when we actually receive the displaced people from outside the Mongla city, might be some issue can come up with the local original population. So we need to have a sympathy and compassion by the local community who will be receiving the migrated people or displaced people coming from the outside the Mongla. So I feel that in terms of community mobilization, BRAC has a long experience in mobilizing the local community. So I feel that they will also try to address those issues at the local level, how to convince the local population, original local population, for receiving the migrated people or displaced people. And they have actually developed, the BRAC has developed a model how to build climate resilient, migrant friendly cities. And if it is successful, then we can replicate them across the country. So there is a good possibility of expanding the scope and expanding the activities in different hotspot areas where the migration is happening and we are experiencing the displaced people due to the adverse impact of climate change. And since they have tried to make this initiative, this case study, together with the local community, local administration, and local political institutions. So this is a very good initiative, and I have heard from the presentation that they have developed, or they are in the process of developing, a plan for locally led climate-friendly town on climate change adaptation. So locally led town climate adaptation plan is very important, and it has to be the ownership has to be in the core of this activity. So local community will participate in developing this climate adaptation plan, which is called TCAP for Mongla city, as well as I'm not sure whether the LAC, Local Adaptation Center, has been already established, but this is also a good initiative to sustain the activity or to carry forward the activity for the future in the coming days and months. So we need to have a permanent local adaptation center for facilitation of the activities in the future. And at the same time, they have also tried to provide some support for capacity building, awareness raising, and other related issues. And I have seen that initiative, the BRAC has already tried to establish a good institutional arrangements with the local administration, with the elected mayor, steering committee and technical committee. They are very good. But one point that I would like to focus on, that since the activities that we will be undertaking in the future, it will require finance, resources. So how the resources can be received or can be mobilized from domestic sources as well as the international sources. When we talk about domestic sources, so government participation has to be ensured in this activity. So when we will try to develop a migrant-friendly cities, then there has to be a government contribution to the process. So government has to take on the board, and a sustained flow of support from the government has to be ensured. So this is one point, and in that case, I feel that there might be a local level revolving fund which can be utilized for this activity to rehabilitate and to actually to establish to build housing and the most importantly, since we know the regions of the migration, one of the important reasons is that loss of livelihoods. So how we can provide the livelihood opportunity for the displaced people who will be coming to Mongla and will stay for a long time. So they need a specific livelihood opportunity through which they can survive and they can lead their family. So I sincerely appreciate this kind of initiative, and BRAC has been actually leading this initiative in different fronts. So on the part of Department of Environment and the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, I fully support the initiative taken by BRAC UDP, and we will have the collaboration and cooperation in the future on the part of the government. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Javed, as the designated discussant for today's session. So now the session is open for question answer. You can write your question to Imamul Shahi for this urban, and for the climate change program, Dr. Mohammed Liaquat Ali is also kind enough. Liaquat Ali, today's session chair, is also kind enough for answering this relevant question. And I'm requesting the host, Joel is over there. If you can share the modalities of question answering, whether we can only write on the chat box or we can also ask the question.
Thank you. I'm hearing you. Anyone can ask the question by writing his or her question on Q&A section or directly to the chat box. Then we can allow them for talking to the session.
Okay. Yeah, we now have 15 minutes for this question answer session. So dear participant, attendees, and also panelists, if you have some questions to share, and after the question answer session, Dr. Mohammed Liaquat Ali will conclude today's discussion on local lead adaptation. Dear attendees. Joel, are there any questions from someone?
No, I don't see any question from someone. Dear attendee, do you have any question or do you want to know anything from our presenter and panelist? Just write down your question on the Q&A section, or you can directly send a SMS through our chat box. So thank you.
We have one question. How can non-government initiatives can be linked with government initiatives in Mongla? I think probably this is to Shahibhai, or also if Liaquat Bhai is willing to answer this.
Shahibhai, I think you can answer it better.
Thank you. Thank you. Basically, as I have basically gave my presentation, so the project BRAC is implementing in Mongla is something different, different in a sense that through this project, we like to contribute in like the overall sustainability, especially if you like to come up with a migrant-friendly city. Because creating or developing a migrant-friendly city, this is not only the responsibility of, not the core responsibility of NGO like BRAC. So if you are not working closely with the government departments or like municipality, then that issue may not be addressed by the BRAC. So in that case, since day one, very consciously and carefully, we are facilitating this project. We are basically facilitating to the municipal authority under the leadership of mayor. This is how they can come up with the activities to contribute to the to make a city where migrants can live with their dignities, with their services. So so that the mayor is lead of the activities. Huh? I think I think the questions here is clarify the concerns. Thank you.
Thanks, Shaibai, for this answer. There is another question. This is also related to climate migrant. In what ways are climate migrants are being helped to transition to jobs? Any local skill program, or there any way to Mongla EPZ is also helping them? And this is from Ellen Mohana. Shaibai, please, if you kindly.
Yeah, thank you very much. So under this project, we are facilitating the process. Like once the process will be successful, once the leadership from the municipality will be there with an accountable manner, then all issues will be undertaken through these initiatives. Like the local town climate adaptation plan. So town climate adaptation plan not only focusing on the risks and vulnerabilities. The town climate adaptation plan also consider like those who are living in informal poor communities in that particular municipality. What are their issues? Issues like it can be their skills related, it can be their health related, it can be their financial inclusion or other livelihoods. So once they came up with their issues, then they sit together for analysis and coming up with the plan, and they also identify how that plan will be implemented. So definitely if there is skill is a big issue, then the plan will come up like how that skill can be addressed. If there is a jobs or other areas is a big issue, then that plan also guide to the community or the municipality or the local adaptation center, like how they like to address it. So in that case, that way, basically, the overall process is moving in the Mongla.
Okay, thanks, Shaibai. But you have another two more questions, and another one is for Dr. Mohammad Liaquat Ali. I'll request dear attendees and panelists not to ask more questions because our time is limited, and we have three more questions now. Shaibai, if I read the question from Najmul Haq. This is the role of DDMT at district level, specifically during disaster. In brief, okay. I mean, here is the word specifically during disaster. Shaibai.
Okay. As I have mentioned in my presentation, like, so how this process is moving. Like this process, we are considering the local community, just like root level community people living in the informal settlements. We are working with the local government institutes like municipality authority. We are also working closely with the different government service departments, like it may be health, it may be education, and we are also working closely with the Upazila Nirbahi office, like UNO office, and so far I know the Upazila Disaster Management Committee is under the Upazila chairman and also Upazila Nirbahi officer closely engaged with that. So those people are joining in the local adaptation center, in the local advisory committee. They are also somehow member of the Upazila Disaster Management Committee. So when the local adaptation plan, ward level adaptation plan, and town level adaptation plan is developing, we are considering it should be risk informed. So how this plan will be risk informed? So when there will be a disaster related issues will be considered in the plan, then you can claim it like risk informed plan for the local, for the ward, and for the town level, and everyone considered it that way. So I think if I'm not wrong.
Thanks, Jai. And I understand the question from Dr. Khalil Mughal. This is, I'll request Dr. Mohammad Liaquat Ali Bhai, Chair today, if he kindly support us answering those. What are the main challenges BRAC has faced so far for emergencies in urban areas, and how are the potable water best be addressed in emergencies in rural areas, and how well locally led adaptation is understood by the government functionaries in Bangladesh? Bye.
I will answer my all the questions during my deliberation.
Kind enough to answer during with this closing session. Now we have other two questions, and I'm requesting not to ask more questions. One is the resilience infrastructure in municipality areas. I mean, are there any climate resilient infrastructure implementation plan in Mongla municipality areas? Shahibhai, if you have any plan on this.
Basically, we are still in the early stage. So this type of plan, we can say, like when the town climate adaptation plan will be finalized, that plan will tell us like is there any resilient infrastructure or not. But definitely that plan will consider different aspects of the community, like infrastructure will be there, soft skills and awareness, and also everything. The plan will be consist of different components, and one of the component would be infrastructure. So when our plan will be finalized, we can say that okay, these are the infrastructure components undertaken or incorporated in the plan.
Okay, thanks, Shahibhai. And there was another specific question.
Also, Tapulda, I like to quick response on like honorable guest from Department of Environment. Sir has mentioned 2-3 things. How we are working with the host communities when addressing the issues of migrants. At the same time, specific livelihood opportunities, and also how we are managing, thinking about finance and resources. So so during the community mobilization process, so when we are sitting with the community, all the community groups, all section of the community groups are there. We're sitting everyone discussing and ensuring participation for all section of the community people. So male, female, who are the migrants, who are not. So everyone is there. So everyone is sitting together, identifying their issues and coming up with analysis and local plans. And that local plan is reflecting to the ward and town level plan. So that is one issue, a quick response. Another one issue is like livelihood opportunities. Yes. So this project is also focusing on the livelihood opportunities. So what are the needs, what are the gaps, and how that gaps can be minimized. That plan also guide to the people as well as the municipality, like to coming up like what are the appropriate livelihood opportunity for the Mongla municipality, especially the people living in most vulnerable locations, informal settlements. So that will also reflected in the different level of plans. And finance and resources. This project has started with support from GCA, Global Center on Adaptation, but the project is also thinking like when it will be tasted in 3 cities and scaled up in another 25 cities. Definitely, financial or resource mobilization would be a key aspects, so that we are not thinking about like the institutional donors. Even we are thinking about like what resources can be mobilized at the local level, what resources can be mobilized at the national level. So mobilizing the national level resources of government, we are also closely facilitating to the municipality, so that they can have some sorts of knowledge, skills, and competencies, and they can develop their proposals and submit to the respective sources of funding. At the same time, every year we know that the municipality or union parishad, they have their annual development plan. So through that annual development plan, how smartly they can develop their annual development plan, considering the town level adaptation plan, and can submit to the government and can access funding on it. So these are the basically core issues at this moment moving forward.
Thanks,
Hopefully we
Shaivai.
will have something good. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Shaivai. There was one specific question to Abu Shadat Munirjon Bhai. Here is that 2000 liter tank for vulnerable people at Mongla, and this was fixed 2000 liter. If given 3000 or 4000 liter, they will be satisfied. I think this is not a question. There are some suggestions for Monir Bhai's presentation. So thanks to the questionnaire. Okay. So now we can close it. The question answer. I'm requesting Dr. Mohammad Liaquat Ali, chairman today for this session. Bhai, along with your concluding and summing speech, you have to answer 3 more questions by Khalil Mughal. One is what we are doing in emergencies in urban areas, and what are the rural areas potable water process we are doing, and how LLA is understood by the government functionaries in Bangladesh. But thank you.
Thank you very much. I will start with the question, what are the challenges we face during our implementation? I think the challenge we face in 2 levels. First of all, when we try to work with the what we call municipal authority, they are in crisis, they are in emergency, because climate change impact is so vulnerable and so complicated, they are facing every day. So when we start discussing, they want everything to be solved within one plan. But here, our project, we have limitation. We'll discuss everything, but we'll try to solve those problems which has a linkage with the climate change impact. So that is one sort of challenge we are facing, and we have to understand them. Look, we are here to advise you or to help you or to facilitate your process so that the climate issue or impact of climate change can be dealt with very nicely following the LLA principle. At the national level, the funding, the point is raised by Ziabai also, is a challenge, because there are some system in place, and we are talking about a system which is led by municipality or community. That is, there are some very good example, but not that much. So we have to convince government and the leaders or the mayors so that they can come together. Getting government people on board regarding LLA, it is happening. As I said at the beginning, the GCA started from the top as well as from the ground. So they are working with government. We are working with government. Together, we'll try to convince, and we have to bring, because there are interventions led by government which are LLA. We have to show them, look, you are already doing, so just try to structure it in a proper way. Regarding resilient infrastructure, as Shahibai answered, definitely if we come up with a solution or intervention that could be possible, that is going to be financed and implemented. But other than that, through our climate change program, we have developed a climate resilient house model, which is mini shelter, cyclone shelter. It is called Amar Ghar, Amar Ashray, which is visited by a high delegation of the government. And it is going to be taken by the government as a climate resilient housing model for the coastal zone. So that is one initiative. And also, there is a question regarding container size, because in presentation, it is only mentioned 2000 liter. This is for only household level intervention, because in this project, we have 3 models. One is for individual household, that is 2000 liter, but there are community level model that is going to be 20,000 to 25,000 liter. And also there is a model for institutional. If you have a big campus like school or college and you have bigger catchment, then we can go up to 40,000 liter. So it depends upon the condition, because we calculated the demand, because that water, because as I mentioned, they are in emergency. Because if you go and ask them, what is your number one problem? They will come up with the water security. I mean, the drinking water security. Because in the coastal zone, if you go, you will see everywhere water, but problem is to drinking water. The GOB NGO collaboration, it is already discussed. We started from scratch, and from the very beginning, we try to work with GOB as well as with NGO. It says GOB NGO collaboration is needed, and we are following that. Regarding finance, because when GCA chief executive visited, and he also realized and asked, what will be happen if you make a plan and there is no finance to implement? So that is the responsibility of GCA and also with BRAC, so that we together make a proposal and convince the government as well as the donor community, so that there will be future funding to implement that problem. So there is a discussion with ADB, which is already started, and there is a discussion with government so that there will be fund channeled. So let us hope for the best. Why we choose Mongla? Because urban development program, we have the experience working with the 12 city corporation as well as 8 municipalities for the last 6 years. So far, we have experienced, the structure of the type of the city corporation or the municipality is important. Because if you talk Dhaka, the mayor of the Dhaka city is equivalent to a minister. Because one hand, it is very advantageous, because if you take a decision, it's easy to implement or easy to convince government. On the other hand, getting appointment of the mayor or reach to the mayor is a problem, because if it is very high level, then reaching to him for every aspect is not that so easy. So that's why we choose a secondary town, because the mayor is very much accessible, very much friendly. At the same time, the importance of the Mongla is improved or significantly, because the inauguration of the Padma Bridge, it reducing the travel time almost 3 hours and 3.5 hours. You can reach from Dhaka to Mongla if you start in the morning within 3.5 hours. So that brings huge opportunity to construct more and more industries and job opportunities. That is actually happening. Mayor told us everybody is seeking about, give me 10,000 people, so we are opening a factory. So there is a huge potential for jobs, because of the Mongla port, there are some migration long time ago. And then there is another thrive is starting because of the inauguration of Padma Bridge. There will be more people coming to that. Actually, people don't like to move, leaving behind their culture, heritage, house. They like to live there, but people has to move when it is necessary. So we are trying to actually doing both ways to keep them in their place. If they have to migrate, instead of Dhaka or mega city, they can be accommodated in the secondary town. And there is definitely a question of what you call host community and migrated community. But normally what we see, these are people coming and taking a rented house. So definitely this housing facility with the city corporation or the authority, municipal authority, we have to look forward how we can accommodate that without what we call too much complicacy. So we are working on that. Regarding DDMT, we have a set practice because we have separate program in BRAC. It's called disaster risk management. We are doing disaster risk reduction work. At the same time, we are responding during disaster. So we work with the government. We have set condition SOD in place. We are following that, and we are working with the government. During emergency, we are active and we are participating all needed, because we have in few selected places, we have some contingency funds. It about 1 lakh taka is there. So we started with that, and then if anything needed, we'll just put in there. So we respond in during disasters. I like to thank the organizer today to arranging such a beautiful event. And I like to thank the participant, those who are actually participated in this event. I like to thank ICAT to organizing Gobeshona. It's an international event now, and we have the opportunity to contribute here. So thanks to ICAT. I like to thank the panelists and the presenter, those who are presenting and panelists for his valuable comments. Thank you, everybody. Thank you all. And with this, I will end here.